Hey guys, doing the video from our new chair here, much more comfortable than the last one we had. So I'm kind of excited about that. Sorry, I forgot to tell you guys I was skipping a week for videos for the holidays. Slipped my mind, sorry about that, but I'm back. And we're going to talk about London. We were in Bruges and had to take a train back to Brussels because we were taking the Channel to London. And a lot of people are like, ooh, wow, that was fancy, and a train that goes under the water, ooh, was it scary? But I think what people don't understand is it's not an undersea adventure where you like see life. It's just a really dark train ride. So anyway, it was just a train ride. That's it. Just a really dark train ride. There was nothing special about it. So we get to London, and it was kind of trippy to be in an English-speaking country because all the countries we've been in so far were not English-speaking countries. And so we'd gotten used to just tuning out random strangers, which honestly, like, even though England is an English-speaking country, when it's an accent that's different from ours and they use different words for certain things, it doesn't always register right away anyway. But it was still kind of weird. We're like, oh, wow, yeah, we don't have to try very hard here now. So, and people were super nice, by the way. They were really nice right off the bat, which we kind of felt bad because we're always a little bit jumpy and suspicious of people, like especially after the whole like Dodger getting pickpocketed incident and people just trying to con you everywhere. Sometimes you forget that some other people might just genuinely be trying to help you and be nice and not expect anything in return. Because I think there was a guy after we got on the metro to the general area where our hostel was in, like the neighborhood, and we were coming up out of the out of the tube station. This guy was like asking if we wanted help finding our hostel, and we immediately think, oh, he wants to be paid for it. But he didn't. He was like, no, I was just trying to help you out. And we're like, oh, we're sorry. We're jerks. But, it's reasonable when people are trying to con you in other places to be suspicious. Just try to be nice about it, I guess. So anyway, found our hostel, no problem. And it was like a palace compared with some of the other places we'd stayed in. It was really nifty. There were really cool, like, graffiti-type murals all over the walls. And some of them were new. Some of them, like, the paint was still wet. So it had, like, tape around it, like, do not touch this. There was a really cool Australian couple that was in our room. And the girl actually worked at the front desk. So she was, like, giving us all these deals and stuff. Like, the internet wasn't free, but she let me use the internet for free. Shh, don't tell anyone. And we had to do a whole bunch of laundry, which they had laundry facilities there, but it was coin operated. You had to pay for it. And so what we were going to do, this is what we did do, we hand washed the laundry in the sink, tiny little sink that was in our room, which took forever. Dodger and I were like the soap and squeeze and wash department, and then we'd like squeeze it all out and give it to the guys to go rinse it out in the shower and wring it out as much as possible. And then we were using the dryer. We were like paying for the dryer, which our new Australian friend let us use the dryer for cheaper too. And since we were doing it like right near bedtime, she offered, since she had the night shift at the front desk, she offered to like check on it for us and take it out of the dryer when it was done, which is so nice. I was like, you rock. Anyway, we didn't really do a lot that first day because it was like part of a day. We got there like, I don't know if it was midday or afternoon or whatever, so we just kind of settled in. That was kind of the theme throughout the whole trip, is the first day we got somewhere, especially if it was later in the day, we just kind of settled in and, found a grocery store, figured out what we were going to do for food, all of that. We did go to an organic grocery store, which was really, really cool, but super expensive. I mean, organic food is usually more expensive anyway, but we did want a few specialty items, so we got a few specialty items there, and then went to Tesco for regular stuff because stuff is much cheaper at Tesco. And I think we did go and kind of walk around Kensington and Hyde Park, just kind of strolled around taking pictures. My kitty's over here, by the way, in case you wonder why I'm leaning. And walked around, my brother wanted to see Albert Hall and Abbey Road Studios, so we just kind of strolled around all of those places and then went back, ate our dinner. There was a lot of people in the kitchen too. This hostel, we weren't used to people like having to compete for the kitchen. People weren't cooking as much in a lot of these other places we were in, and so it was kind of weird. We're like, we thought we were like getting up early when nobody else would be using the kitchen, but there were always people using it, so we kind of had to fight for space. It was kind of weird. We weren't sure we liked that very much, but we met some really cool people, had some good conversations. I didn't really have this conversation, but Jared and my brother did. While Dodger and I were washing clothes in the sink in our room, because some rooms actually will just have like a sink and a mirror aside from the bathroom that's like separate. And so Dodger and I are like scrubbing away with this laundry, and this other Australian girl, she was like kind of young. I don't know how old she was. She looked terrible. She basically looked exactly like the activity that she'd been doing. She said she'd been in London for 3 weeks and she'd done nothing but party all night the entire time. She said she hadn't even done like 3 hours worth of sightseeing in 3 weeks because all she was doing was going out at night, and she looked like it. Gross, smeared like eye makeup, looked like she hadn't slept in days, just partying hard, and she was shamelessly flirting with my brother and my husband, which I didn't really appreciate, although they weren't like affected by it. They were like, oh, you're so weird. And so she was standing there just saying ridiculous things. Dodger and I were like getting really irritated, partly because they were like, she was like just saying really stupid things, and partly because we're doing all the work with the laundry and the boys are just like standing in the door where we're like, come get the laundry, rinse it out. But that girl, later that night, it was so funny. She was not staying in our room. She was like one room over. My brother told me in the middle of the night, she kind of half stepped on his ankle, which you're wondering probably, if she wasn't staying in your room, why did she step on your brother's ankle while we were sleeping? Because she went out partying and got super drunk and forgot which room was hers, and our room apparently was slightly, like, it wasn't completely locked shut because of the girl that worked at the front desk, so she could just go in and out since she was in our room. And so this girl wandered into our room and just climbed onto an empty bunk and just slept, not in her own room with her stuff. And she woke up the next morning and was like, whoa, this isn't my room. And we were like, really? You think so? Anyway, that was kind of wacky. So that was probably the only like crazy person we met there. She was weird. No pictures of her because I didn't like her. Anyway, so the second day was our like, okay, we're gonna sightsee now. And we got up and had our yummy breakfast, and we made ourselves lunch because we were going to the British Museum. And so we were actually out pretty early. It was pretty cool because it was really peaceful, and you know, like London was just waking up itself. So we went and we got there before the British Museum even opened. And so we just kind of strolled around the area, and then when we got into the museum, it was so amazing. Massive museum. I love the British Museum, and it was free. That made me super happy. But, excuse me, we walked at a pretty brisk pace, but we were there for 4 hours, and that includes just a brief, I think we stopped for lunch for like 20 minutes or so. 4 hours, and we only saw about half of the museum, and we were booking it, and we kind of skipped over the Greco-Roman exhibit like we did in Berlin, also because we're like, you know, it's not, I mean, it's always interesting, but we'd already seen a lot of that, so that was kind of nuts. We were like, oh my gosh, I totally would have wanted to like be able to take a nap. They need cots in the British Museum. They need places for you to lay down, take a short nap, and then, okay, I'm ready to see the rest of it, so you can get it all done in one day. But really, you should probably split it up into a couple days. I didn't know that it was going to be that fantastimous, so we did not do that. But after the British Museum, after lunch and everything, let me look at my notes. I think we went to Camden Town after that. And I have to tell you, okay, so it rains a lot in London, but it doesn't just rain the whole day. At least it wasn't when we were there. Which in Oregon, if it's raining that day, it's raining. Like, for the most part. It's raining all day, and about the same level. Like, it might be raining and then rain a little harder and then back off, but it's pretty much just a drizzly day if it's going to be raining at all. And in London, it was like really sunny and beautiful, and then all of a sudden clouds, just like a cartoon, like move in and just dump on you. So when we first set out to go sightseeing, our friend at the front desk was like, oh, do you guys want to borrow an umbrella? We have a whole bunch of umbrellas here. And we're like, we're from Oregon. We don't need umbrellas. take the umbrella if it's offered. Oh my gosh. So we were in Camden Town, and it kept dumping down rain for a few minutes, and then it would stop for like 10 or 15 minutes, and then dump down again. So we had to keep, like, do the duck and cover thing, like, run, go into like a little clothing stall thing with tarps over it, and just stand there and wait, and then, okay, now we can walk around some more. Oh, and we have to run again. So next time we were offered an umbrella, we took it, and you'll see in the pictures, I think, there's a big, bright red umbrella my brother's, like, strolling around with, because you will need it just in case, because, oh, man, I felt so stupid. It is a pride thing. Don't be prideful if you're from a rainy place. Just take the umbrella. But Camden Town was cool. We just liked window shopping and strolling around, and on the way back, we got some food, went back to the hostel. We started meeting some really cool people. We met a couple guys from Germany and a girl from Vancouver, BC, which is actually pretty close to where we live in terms of where everyone else was that we were meeting from. So where everyone else is from, sorry, didn't say that quite right. And so we just had some really good conversations. We had to go to bed at some point, so we're like, okay, we'll continue these in the morning, which we did. The next morning, we'd intended to get like a really early start because we were going to go see the Tower of London, which we were super excited about. But we ended up talking to people for like 2.5 hours. The only reason we stopped talking is because the girl that cleans the hostel, like the front room, she wanted to clean the front room. She was like, get out, go do something. So we're like, okay, I guess we better go. It's, like noon already. So we packed our lunch. We headed off for the Tower of London. And I had bought these British Heritage passes for like $70 a piece. But they were supposed to cover all these different things in all of like the United Kingdom. So it was really awesome because then you didn't have to wait in line. And, you know, if you add up all the places you would want to go, the ticket prices, it was definitely saving money, even though it was like $70 for this pass. And Tower of London was included when I purchased it. And I purchased this card in like, I don't know, February before we left. We left in July. And so we get up to the ticket booth and the girl's like, oh, we don't accept those anymore. I was like, what do you mean? I bought these a long time ago. I'm like, when did you stop accepting them? And she's like, May. And I was like, well, we have had them since February, and it still was advertised. I don't know. It was just really frustrating. You know, there was no email sent. There was no update. And so we did not get to go to the Tower of London because it was really expensive just for one person to go. And we kind of wanted to eat the rest of the trip to have money for food. So we decided that food was more important than the Tower of London, which... so frustrated because other people I know that have been there were like, that was my favorite part of London. Whatever, I'll just have to go back. Anyway, so we walked over to London Bridge, took a look. It was great. Then we took the metro to Portobello Road, which, if you don't know what that is, it's a whole bunch of shops, lots of antiques, like one big flea market, ginormous flea market. I mean, we didn't even see all of it because we just kept walking and walking. We're like, it never ends. But it was pretty neat, you know, just walking around. I just like soaking in the atmosphere of places, so that was really cool. And then, you know, we went back and had our dinner again. We cracked open our bottle of Pisang Ambon that we'd gotten in Estonia and had some Pisang drinks, so that was great. And the next day, we were leaving, so we got up and said goodbye to our Aussie friends. We didn't leave in like a super big hurry, but we were just kind of flustered because we ended up leaving some key food items in the fridge, which I was kind of frustrated about, but we replaced them later. And we were setting off for Heathrow Airport to pick up our car. And that was right after the whole liquid explosive thing had happened at Heathrow, like couple weeks after. So it was beyond a nightmare. It was the most crowded airport I have ever seen. I'm sure it's crowded even when there aren't explosive scares, but I don't know if any of you remember that whole thing, but there was like baggage on the runways forever, and it wasn't like we were surrounded by baggage when we went in there, but it didn't matter. It was just an absolute circus. So I think I will stop this video now because I feel like I've been talking for a long time. And I will finish this up next time. I'll talk about some more of England. So anyway, I will talk to you guys later. Bye.